Hey, Doug Murin here again. One more of your 2-minute tips. I know there's quite a few for this one. We're just kind of figuring out how to do this thing. Got a lot of positive feedback that the videos are better. Okay, we've got under 2 minutes now. I'm going to talk to you about assimilation. um, One of the realities of church today, excuse me, I'm sure you've um, been running into is people are in your church are probably starting to weary a little bit about the serving component, and particularly baby boomers. And one of the things that I've been advising churches to do is to sort of reduce the friction in your churches. In other words, find areas that aren't necessarily the place to spend the energy you do right now. Um, I think things have seasons. And I think one of the areas I've looked at is assimilation. Churches spend a great deal of energy sometimes assimilating new people or trying to. They have very rigorous steps to call people and all that, which is never bad. But probably your visitors could be better deployed. And I'm going to tell you why. Very few people actually assimilate in a church through assimilation programs. If you do your studies on your own church, you'll find that's true. Now, I'm not saying some don't, and as I keep saying, we look at the aberrations from the norm and we say, oh, yeah, it's working. But I'm guaranteeing you it's too much work for what you're seeing as a return. The fact is that a lot of organized corporate type of stuff is better shifted over to more an organic community kind of thing. And one of these is assimilation. What you're going to find is 85% of the people in your church got there through a close friend or a family member. And think about that, 85%. So we're putting a phenomenal amount of work into the 15% and probably even only then getting a 10 to 20% rate of assimilation out of that. That's just too much work. There are a lot of places you can put a lot of that kind of energy in. You know that I just hate to see that. So here's what I suggest. I've been suggesting to churches that you train your church, even in services, how to assimilate a friend. It's very simple. Take it into a 4-step process, and turn the people to bring their friends into a pastor. For in my church in the latter seasons in Seattle, I began doing something that made a lot of sense to me. And that was when someone received Christ, I didn't send them to the prayer room. What I did is I told them to tell the person next to them that they had received Christ, if it was a friend or relative, and most often it was. Then what I did is I had the friend or relative go to the prayer meeting, and we taught them how to continue the process of conversion and beginning steps in Christ and how to do it. Of course, some of the people weren't Christians themselves, but we made some great headway there. Now, we grew at a phenomenal rate, and we didn't spend a lot of energy at all in the other, normal conventional way of assimilation. So, train your people in your church how to include a friend, how to invite them, how to love them in, how to what are the first 3 or 4 steps? Can you start it in Christ? Get them in a small group or Bibles, all that kind of stuff. Save yourself some energy and give your church more responsibility. Okay, I'm done.